Hello, virtual dreamers. Gregory here. It's amazing just how much beauty there is in the virtual world's artist's craft. With all the focus on technical development and thinking about the future I get up to on this channel, I think I lose sight of that a bit more often than I should. Thankfully, it's not hard to be reminded of the grandeur of what we have. To kind of get into the story a bit, it was early Sunday morning and I was walking back from my usual daily jog, and I was thinking to myself, when was the last time I played my Oculus Quest alone? You see, I'd been pondering about what had happened the day before, when the plans my friends and I had made to head up to some mountains were cancelled because of thunderstorms, and we decided to spend the day gaming at home instead. We went to my friend Jeff's place and I brought along my usual portable gaming gear, the Nintendo Switch and Oculus Quest. We spent most of the afternoon switching back and forth between Mario Kart, Richie's Plank Experience, Smash Bros, and Epic Roller Coaster, but one of my friends actually managed to play through the first part of Vader Immortal by the end of the evening. We lamented that the Oculus Quest battery and the hours remaining in the day wouldn't be enough to get through the other parts, but I figured he could play through the other parts on another occasion. It was when I thought about that, though, that I kinda realized something. I hadn't properly finished up Vader Immortal since booting it up for the first time a long time ago myself. How was it that a friend of mine just trying it out could finish it, but I, the person who owned the headset, didn't? It really made me think about my habits with VR recently. If I was being honest, taking the Quest out of home and playing it with my friends was the first time I'd actually used my Quest to game that I could remember for the month of June. Something about that realization made me think that I may not be setting aside enough time for myself to really engage in what I did for entertainment. Some Persona 4 or Pokemon here and there did occupy some time, but they've usually been spliced between other activities. So, determined to give myself a necessary VR break, I opened up my checklist app TickTick and set a reminder to play through some VR games the next day. Come Monday, after finishing up a few errands with my family in the morning, I locked myself in my room, put on the Oculus Quest, and made my way through Vader Immortal. The game was pretty short, but what caught my attention the most in the experience was the impressive visuals the game had for a Quest game. I've gone on record saying that some Quest games give off a bit of a PS2 vibe, but the very best the Quest has to offer can readily shirk that impression. Whenever I came upon some of the areas with really well done texturing, some of the high quality models, or was upfront and personal with something like a Stormtrooper, I was really in awe at what I was seeing. This was a pretty good start to the day, but alas, the experience is still pretty short, so I still had a good bit of time left in the afternoon. Considering that my Quest's battery was running low, I hooked it up to my PC with the Oculus Link cable and played through a game I'd gotten from a VR Humble Bundle a little while back. A little game called Moss. Ah yes, Moss was a delight, from start to finish. I was constantly impressed by the small world that was presented before me. The game's story is framed as the player being a reader of a book who can play the role of an active participant in the goings-on of the tale. We assist a small mouse named Quill as she goes on an adventure to save her uncle, who is trapped in the castle by a malevolent enemy. Being made to scale, the environments felt like a small diorama was set in front of me, and there were a ton of little touches that invited me to take my time and appreciate the effort the artists must have put into the creation of the world. Quill's design was absolutely adorable too, and her animations really sold just how small she was and endeared her to me through little things like having her beckon for a high five, pointing out what to do next, and conducting her platforming with some well-done animations that really sell the physicality of her actions. It took me a little under 4 hours to beat the story, but I was left with plenty of desire to go right back in to find the collectibles I had missed. When I wrapped up that day of gaming, I came away thinking more about the experiences I had had than I did any of the technical shortcomings of the experiences. Vader Immortal may have been running directly on my Quest, but it still managed to sell me on the splendor of the game's world through its effective use of VR's strengths to make me feel intimidated in the presence of stormtroopers and Vader, or some tension when surrounded by enemies towards the end. Obvious though their attack cues may have been. With Moss, I remembered that VR gameplay doesn't have to be about controlling ourselves in the virtual space, and that there's a whole realm of potential for empathy with others opened up by the feeling of being there that VR allows. When compared to those benefits, the weaker lighting quality of Vader Immortal, lack of subsurface scattering for the leaves, and water geometry deformation in Moss were just minor problems in the face of being in the presence of Darth Vader or high-fiving a precious mouse friend like Quill. I know this channel frequently delves into the technicalities of trying to further the VR medium. Foveated rendering, higher fields of view, lighter headsets, solving VR locomotion, getting haptics working. These are all worthwhile endeavors for improving the VR experience. My efforts to change up my approach to building the VR rig and even its very development in that of itself should attest that I love VR enough to want to see it become the best that it can be. However, I do still want to show some gratitude to the artists and developers of today for making it possible for me to, at any moment I'd like, put on a headset and be whisked away to the Star Wars universe, a storybook world of a small mouse, the post-apocalyptic world of Half-Life, or a roaring crowd of a Vocaloid concert with my favorite virtual idols on the stage. My experience this past week has me looking to go on a good old VR gaming binge to get away from the real world for a bit, and I think it's worth celebrating the fact that we have the chance to do that nowadays. If I can't go outside because there's a thunderstorm in the way, it's reassuring to know that VR will let us bask in the magnitude of the virtual world with the lens of virtual reality to make it feel all the better. Thank you, my dear viewer, for indulging me in sharing that little anecdote and my thoughts in this video. I hope you'll consider subscribing, liking, and commenting to let YouTube algorithm someone know to make our paths cross again. Till next time, my fellow adventurers and dreamers, this has been Gregory, logging out.